Hey everybody, my name is Gordon Mix. I am a stylist, I'm a color educator, and I also write a blog called The Hair Strategist at hairstrategist.com. Today I am talking to you about retailing, but specifically about why your clients are totally disinterested and could care less about what you say when you try to talk to them about retail. Okay, why is that? Well, it's because we need to be teaching our guests how to use the products and what the benefits are instead of trying to sell them. What does that mean? Well, we're going to get into it. So, who can benefit? Well, your stylists, whether you are in a commissioned salon or you had just started in this career, or you're independent salon owners. So, if you're a salon owner, you probably figured out that your services pretty much cover the overhead. And at the end of the day, there's little to no profit left for you. So your retail is really your profit. That's why you want to encourage your staff to sell retail. That's why you want to teach them how to teach others. As stylists, there's something in it for you too. And we're going to get way into that. So a lot of us have these negative beliefs when it comes to educating our guests about retail. And some of those could be, it's a waste of my time. I'm not a salesperson. This is stupid. I don't want to be seen as pushy. Or if I encourage my staff to sell retail, then they're going to, they're not going to like it and they're going to resist me. And I don't want to deal with the resistance, okay? Why this is bad. All of us are kind of in these feedback loops when it comes to beliefs. And so with a negative belief like that, or a limiting belief when it comes to retailing, we see it as, stupid because that's our belief. And consequently, we feel totally unengaged. We're not interested whatsoever, or even we could feel annoyed when it comes to product knowledge training, when it comes to retail sales. And because of those feelings, we do nothing. Or worse yet, we do the salesy thing. We try to sell people, which they don't want to be sold. And let me just tell you why that is. Because when you walk into a car dealership, you are usually looking to buy a car. If I walk into a clothing store, my intention is to buy clothing. The sales techniques that those salespeople use are for those environments. When someone walks into your salon, they have no intention of buying any of the product on your shelves. That is why being salesy and doing sales techniques does not work. You might get it to work a little bit, but it really ultimately doesn't work. And in fact, it annoys people. Anyways, but we do that, right? And then we get really poor or negative results. And because of those results, because we tried this and it didn't really work out, we then confirm our belief that this is stupid, and then the cycle continues. So what we need to do is transform our beliefs. That little triangle, by the way, that is alchemical fire. Fire representing the energy, the emotion, kind of the willpower it takes to really sit down and examine beliefs. Some of these beliefs that we need to change are the I'm not a salesperson, right? So we're going to change that into the I am a teacher. Instead of I'm better than this, we are going to say this is a skill that I can get better at. Instead of this is a waste of my time, we're going to come to see that this saves time and money. Got to change this over here. All right. Instead of my staff will resist belief, this is going to benefit my staff. Instead of believing that we will be seen as pushy, we're going to see that this actually builds trust and rapport with our guests and encourages our goals to grow our clients, grow our income, and be all around better off. When we change these beliefs, we have a totally different feedback loop. So now we are going to see the importance behind teaching our guests how to use the products properly. Because we see it as important, we feel eager and excited to share that. That means we do the teaching because we feel excited, because we see it as important, and then we get more money and more clients as a consequence. What are some of the benefits of teaching? It requires little effort, and guests don't like to be sold. We just covered that. Guests don't want to be in a pushy sales situation, but they do want to feel heard and listened to. And if you get good at solving their problems, they will love you forever. By the way, guests are already buying the products that you are using on them just from somewhere else. So why not tell them about it? As you begin to incorporate this more behind the chair, you will see an increase in income as well as client retention. And that's the big one I really want to talk about. So when it comes to client retention, we have an abysmal industry rate of like something like an average of 40-ish%. So 4 out of 10 clients you basically retain. It's really, really bad. Okay, some people do worse, some people do better. But did you know that if a client takes home 3 retail products that you recommend, there is a 90% chance that they are coming back to you. So your retention rate just shot up into the 90s. So that's more than double the industry standard. Meanwhile, if they take home 0 products from you, there's a 60% likelihood that they will leave you. So what does this mean for us? Like, what does this mean client-wise, energy-wise? Like, why is this important? See, I'm trying to really help you to see the importance of this so that it's easier to change your belief. So if I have a client base of 10 clients, I have limited time, I have limited energy, but I use that energy to serve my clients and to make money. So that is the ideal scenario, right? I want all of my time and my energy going into serving guests, going into creating revenue streams. However, only 30% of those guests, there's a 30% likelihood that those guests might want to leave me. So out of those 10 clients, I'm only keeping 7. Now, what is the situation looking like? Well, next week I only have 7 clients returning. I still have the same limited time and energy, but now it's split. It's split between serving my existing guests and serving and attracting new guests. And that's really the kicker, is that it takes so much more time, energy, and money to attract people, new people, into your chair than it does to just retain the clients who already love you. So both of these clients, though, they do end up generating income. New clients less, though, because of the cost of advertising, of the cost of time, and also the energy costs. It just is less rewarding. And then sadly, we actually need 9 new guests to replace the 3 that we lost. And that's because there's only a 30% retention rate. So I hope you're starting to see that if we can boost up our retention rate into the 90s, we are talking about a completely changed game. So getting a little more into the existing client versus new client, we want to be focusing most of our time on our existing clients. Now, it really ranges. You could spend anywhere between 4 and 20 hours trying to attract new clients. People do that by posting on Instagram, posting on Facebook, to reaching out to people, reaching out to friends, family, walking the street, handing out cards. People do anything they can to get new clients in their chairs, including running newspaper ads for some reason. It's better time spent to be working on your existing clients. It does take energy to do what we do, but it takes significantly more of our energy to work on a new guest because we don't know who they are. We don't know what they want. We have to really use our brains to try and problem solve, like what's going on, interpret what it is they want. Whereas with an existing guest, it takes so much less energy. We know the person. We kind of have figured out what they like. It's a much better use of our time and energy to work on existing guests. Also, money. 90% of the money you earn is going to come from those guests who already love you. 10% is going to come from the new guests. And yet we can spend sometimes up to 50% of our time trying to attract that new guest that generates 10% of our money. So yeah, it doesn't add up. And then cost per client. So, it takes almost nothing. It's a very low cost, energy and money wise, to retain a guest. Just do a great job, make them feel important, treat them like they are important, and express your desire to continue to want to do their hair. Now, the cost to attract a new guest is astronomical. Astronomical. If you're going to run ads, like you are spending money, you are spending energy. Maybe you send email blasts, you have postcard mailers, who knows what you do. But it's really interesting that a lot of our time and money and energy goes into attracting new guests when we should be focused on the guest in our chair. And if you get really smart about what you do with that guest in your chair, you won't need to spend so much time attracting new guests. Who knew? You can retail to your existing guests and actually keep more clients. That's what I'm telling you. All right, the pointless things that people do to try to keep their clients. So this is the energy sinks, right? And I did just tell you what you need to do, but this is the pointless things people do, is they spend way too much time on Instagram, way too much time on TikTok, and then they buy pointless ads that nobody cares about. Nobody's seeing them. And if you do get one person to come in from an ad, you've probably already spent $20 to $200 in advertising to get that one client. So it's not worth it. It's not worth it. What is worth it? What is a good use of our time and money is investing our energy back into the chair. Now, this is what works. This is what actually works. So the way to keep a guest is to enhance the guest experience. It's really that simple. Everybody's out there in this nebulous internet trying to attract people into their chair, but what they really need to do is get focused on the person inside of their chair. Once they're in your chair, now the job is easy, okay? So how do you create a great experience? Well, the truth is that some things that you do, some behaviors you do, are going to lower the value, lower the quality of the experience. And there are things you can do that raise the quality, that raise the likelihood of that guest coming back and raise the likelihood that they're going to continue to spend money with you. So the big one, and this is where everybody stops. Everybody's just like, oh, all I need to do to be a good hairdresser is I need to do good hair. And that's true. A big part of the experience is like, did the guest get the hair that they want? Okay. Obviously, if they did, that benefits the experience. If they didn't, that's gonna detract from the experience, but there's so many more. So for one, are you focused in on that client? When they talk to you and when they express their problems, are you listening and responding, or are you checked out? Are you disinterested and unengaged? Also, are you trying to sell them? Stop selling people things. People don't like to be sold to. Trying to sell somebody something is going to lower the value of the experience. And you'll know what selling is because selling sounds like this. Oh my God, this is the best shampoo I've ever tried. I think this shampoo would be the best shampoo for you. I love it. I just love it. It has cherries in it, and it also has aloe. That's kind of like a selling technique, is to pressure somebody. But solving someone's problems is totally different. And when you solve a problem, that guest is going to love you. Is the guest able to recreate the look you did at home? If not, then it's not really that great of an experience. If they can, then that raises the experience. Also, are you a reactionary person? Is that client sitting in your chair and are you like, hey, what are we doing today? And they're like, I don't know. What do you think? And you're like, oh, I don't know. What do you think? If you're waiting for the client to come to you with ideas, that's kind of reactionary. Things that raise the value is being proactive, being forward thinking, having a plan for your guest. Also anticipating problems, pain points in the future that you can solve, okay? Those things are going to raise the guest experience. Now, this is the part that I wanted to make the video for, but it was really important that we cover beliefs, that you understand that this teaching method is created to enhance the guest experience, to make not only more sales, but to increase your guest retention. And it's more of a holistic approach to retailing. So we had to cover that. I know it was long. We had to get it out of the way. But now that we've done that, we can get into what is the technique. So one, consultation. It's simple. You're going to listen to the guests and analyze them. But then we're also going to set an expectation for the service. So boom, one, consultation. Two, during the service, we are going to reconnect the things we talked about in consultation into the service, because some services can be 3 hours long. You do all of the small talk. You talk about the kids, like, do you have pets? Like, where do you go to school? Like, you have all of this conversation that's small talk. You have to reconnect it back to a professional experience. So 3 is the styling lesson. And this is the most important part. You are going to ask for permission to show them something. And then you are going to show them what to do and what to use. So easy. That's the styling lesson. And then number 4, you're going to ask. So we do a lot of asking, but you're going to ask them basically if they want to take home the product. Okay, so let's take a little closer look at this. So consultation, the listening and analyzing. So basically what we're listening for is we're trying to put the guest into one of 2 buckets. So there's basically 2 types of guests. There's the guest that comes to you with a problem that needs to be solved. And then there's the guest where this is just a haircut to them. This is just a hair color. This is totally routine and they don't care. They're checked out. Okay? You need to identify what type of guest is sitting in your chair, and we're gonna treat them a little differently in the way that we approach them. So for the uninterested guests, I'm going to basically try to engage them. So I'm going to say, hey, I just took this class. I learned this great technique. I think it would work great on your hair. Is that something you have time for me to show you today? It's like, it'd take 2 seconds. So that's how you're going to ask during the consultation for that guest. For the guest with a concern, they say, okay, my hair's been flat. I'm going to say, great. Okay, you know what? When I'm drying your hair, if you got 2 seconds, I have this amazing tip. I'm going to show you how to make your hair full of volume. That's step 1. Okay, we analyzed the person. We responded to this person in a way that they will hear. And then in that response, we set the expectation, which is that later during the service, I am going to show you something that's important. If you choose not to address their concerns in the consultation, you're going to appear uninterested and disengaged. Okay? Which it doesn't matter which one of the guests you're dealing with, that's going to lower the guest experience. Now, if you do the teaching method, step 1 consultation, you will become engaging. The guest is going to want to listen to what you have to say. Okay, we didn't just jump right in with the, let me show you this technique right away. Okay, no, we're like asking them permission and getting their engagement. And that is generating interest in the guest. Okay, especially your really disinterested ones, you kind of got to build them up. We got to bring them into the service with us. And so what you want to do is raise their level of interest. Step 2 is going to be the service, the reconnect back. You can do this at any point in a conversation. It takes 2 seconds and is painless. So as soon as there's a break in conversation, maybe you're halfway through foiling ahead, all you do is you're going to say, by the way, it's important to me that you know how to take care of your hair at home. So later, I'm just going to give you a few tips, okay? That's it. Painless. Now you can get back into chatting. All right, if it's a guest with a concern, you might want to just pepper in a little bit of additional info. So just so you know, the products we use make a big difference in how much volume we get in the hair. Let them think about it, okay? And then get back to chatting about politics. Get back to chatting about whatever it is that you chat about. All you wanted to do is just reconnect that guest back in. Now, if you don't do the reconnect, right, and the guest has expressed a problem to you, now they're feeling ignored, right? Because we're an hour and a half into their service at this point, and you haven't touched back on the initial problem that they came to you with. So they're feeling pretty unimportant. When you do this, however, that guest is re-engaged, right? We're building back that excitement and we're generating more interest for the next step, which is the styling lesson. This is the part where if you haven't done step 1 or step 2, you get that dead behind the eyes kind of look, because we really do want them to be interested in what we have to say. That's why we do step 1 and 2. Step 3 is the styling lesson. So we're going to ask for permission. So I'm just going to ask both of these types of guests now. We're not really differentiating at this point, but I'm just going to ask them, is it okay if I show you whatever it was that we discussed previously? So I'm not really introducing a new thing to them at this point. The service is done. Their hair is washed, maybe even already blow dried. We're showing them a 2-second thing, and we've mentioned it before, so they're expecting it. So now they're going to be engaged. And when they say yes, you're going to say, because I want to see this, or because you want more volume, I'm going to use this product, and this is how I use it, and this is the technique that I use to style it. That's it. Now, not doing this step, okay, this is disappointing, especially if you've done steps 1 and 2, and especially if they had a concern that was brought up during the consultation. This creates a lot of disappointment. If you don't do this, the guest really finds you not interesting. Maybe they even feel rushed. And then that makes a guest that's very unlikely to buy anything from you or return. But by doing this, we have now piqued the guest's interest. So this is like the highest peak that their interest will be at. We do it during the styling lesson. We do this amazing style on them. They love it, and it builds rapport. It builds your credibility as a professional. They now think that you are amazing, and they are also highly likely to buy from you as well as return. But we're not done yet. Because you did this amazing styling lesson, you set yourself up for success. Now we just need to ask. So some of the things that you could ask are, hey, if you want to be really soft, you could say, hey, do you have any questions about the product or the technique that I just used on you? But something that I think is more effective to say would be, would you like to start with any of these products today? Most of the guests, when you do this full technique, are going to have questions for you. They're going to be very interested. My recommendation is always show them 2 or 3 products, and then you don't want to confuse them. So show them which one is most important. I'll lay out a shampoo, a conditioner, and a styler. I will explain to them all of the benefits, and then I will say, hey, if you had to only get one of these today, this is the one that I think you will get the most benefit from. By not asking, we have completely lost our moment. Interest totally flatlines. This becomes an average experience. Because basically you just kind of showed them a little magic trick and you're like, okay, goodbye. They're going to love their hair, but they're not going to be able to recreate it. The haircut then is average. That client is going to be a lot less likely to return. But by asking and encouraging them to take home the product, you are now the problem solver. Give them a minute to think after you ask. Don't try to push them. Just let them think about what it is that they want to do. Chances are they will buy a product from you because this is the retail hack. This is the how to teach instead of sell. And it almost works every time. Guests become very highly likely to buy from you, and they will book your next appointment with you because they've never had an experience quite like this. I hope you found the information in this video valuable. I hope that after watching it today, you start selling retail like out the ears, right? Doing that by teaching your guests. The more you do this, the more you will see the benefit, the more your beliefs will change. As your beliefs change, this whole process becomes extremely easy. Now, to get to this point, you had to watch this whole video. So I'm not sure how long this video is at this point. It might be 20 minutes. I'm not exactly sure. So you had to do that up front. It's also going to take, next steps is going to be product knowledge, because the thing is that you have to know the products you're using inside and out. And not only that, you have to know how to create an amazing look. The best way to do that is to get into a product knowledge class. I know nobody wants to do that, but I'm telling you, you get into one of those classes, you're going to learn at least one styling trick that will wow you. And if it wows you, the hairstylist, to see this trick, you can bet your ass it's going to wow the client in your chair. Extremely valuable to get into product knowledge training. But feel free to subscribe. I'm going to be putting a lot more content on here exclusively about working behind the chair. I am trying to speak to stylists with a growth mindset. We want to grow behind the chair and we want to earn 6 figures or more. So it can be done. I'm going to show you how. Now I'm attaching to this video the link to the blog post that specifically inspired this video. And please share in the comments what it was that you learned, what you liked, what you didn't like, and what is now helping you sell retail behind the chair. Until next time, take care.